Force, Luke.
Sometimes truth isn't good enough.
I feel the need for speed.
Ray, when someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes!
Because it's their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
What's up, guys? It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It means it's time for FrostCast, episode 27 here on Winter Wolf's Den. Let's not waste any time. Lots to talk about today in entertainment and nerddom all over the place. Let's bring in King Z, because I know he's got something really near and dear to his heart he wants to open with today. Please listen.
Hey, everybody, how y'all doing? Welcome to our 27th episode. And speaking of episodes, one of the things I want to bring up is I was there watching one of the YouTubers I watch. His name's I forgot. Tom Grossi. Sorry, it just blanked on me. He is a football content creator, a independent creator, so he has no sponsors. He controls all of his own content. He does not do any ads during his stuff, and he does football content. He's a Green Bay Packers fan, but one of the things he's doing, yep, I know, but the thing is, he's very fair to other teams on this, and he has some hilarious comment. He's also a stand-up comedian, former teacher, before he went full-time YouTuber. But one of his goals in life, he has 2 left on YouTube that he hasn't accomplished, and he's going to do a continuous stream to reach one of these 2 goals, whichever one happens first. His first goal is either reach 1 million subscribers, or the other one, raise $1 million for charity. And the charity that he's doing is for money for fallen, or Kids for the Fallen Heroes. Is the if you could bring up the website real quick, I'm stumbling over my words.
Because dude, you can do this.
Yeah, it's a great charity that helps the kids of the fallen warriors that's been defending our country. As you can see right here, they help pay for scholarships and stuff like that, so the kids of their who've lost a parent in these wars that we've been fighting for 25 years throughout the world, they have money for college in the name of their parents. And this is a really great charity. It actually has a 100% on the charity ratings and a 5.0, the only charity that has a 5.0 on the charity, like it rates the charity kind of like Trustpilot for website.
Site, yeah.
Yep. And it's the only one that has 5 stars. We're talking over 98% of the money finds it to the people who need it.
Very little overhead.
Yep. So if you want to see, I'm going to have a link in the description. I need to update the description to the full video of Tom Grossi where he's talking about this. And I would definitely tune into his show and help raise his money. 100% of the money he raises from super chats, memberships, everything like that goes straight to the charity. He's not pocketing any of it. So hats off to another creator. I just want to give a big shout out for what he's doing. And I really appreciate what he does, both content-wise and how he tries to help the community.
Yeah, make sure you get that description updated. Maybe even have Oracle throw a comment in, just so as people pop in, they could just maybe get a quick peek at the link that way and whatnot. Cool. Yeah, I'll be taking a look. I know I subscribed already as he does his drive to 1 million. That was his other goal. He's trying to hit that 1 million mark by the end of the year. But I wish Tom the best. Good luck. Fingers crossed. And I already kicked in a couple bucks, and I'm sure if you guys have a couple extra laying around, maybe you can give it a thought. All right, dude, you ready?
Let's do this.
We ain't done this in a while. Opening with the gaming segment, which is rare for us, despite the amount of gaming that I go through in a week. And you're on the semi-retired side. Those retired. I didn't say the R word. Everybody that might be all bent out of shape. I didn't do it.
Yeah, I've gone from participating to spectating.
Right. Yeah, dude, that's probably what I need to do as we get our accountability challenge for the writing of the novels underway and whatnot this late winter. But anyway, so as you guys saw on the thumbnail, it's kind of a situation with a "What up, fellow gamers? Where are we dropping?" situation.
Yes.
Where Call of Duty, for those of you guys, if you play Warzone or you play the 6v6, or hell, even if you're into Marvel Rivals, Valorant, PUBG, Counter-Strike, whatever the other, even Battlefield 2042, I guess is still kind of a thing. Right?
Yeah, Apex and Fortnite.
Fortnite, yep, bangers, right? Yeah, dude, never go full. I broke my reel already. It was just too funny, but I'm not going to do it again. You never go full retired. All right. If you're in any of these games, you're kind of into the know of the other games to a degree where you're aware of what the trends are. You kind of get a feel for who's got a battle pass that's come out, things like that. You just always, they're interconnected in a lot of ways. And something that's been making the rounds consistently on YouTube now that you and I haven't really talked about much kind of online. We've talked about it offline a couple of times. Is I'm not playing a whole lot of Warzone. I'm not even playing a whole lot of battle royales lately anymore. And you've been away from the Warzone scene that you played with your brother a lot for a while.
Yeah.
Last game was probably the rounds you, me, and my brother put in like a year ago.
Yeah, actually, that was, and that's when we were playing DMZ. That was the last time I played.
So it might even have been 2 years ago if we're going to put a fine point on it, right? But there's been a really disturbing trend with the COD numbers, as documented by several other sites that focus on COD, the numbers, the culture, the circles around it, where they're on like a record low pace, and people just aren't turning up for the bullshit anymore. We're talking about like Steam is showing numbers where they're like their peak player count in like a 24-hour period across multiple titles, not just Call of Duty Black Ops 6 or Verdansk or Warzone by itself, but like every title from Vanguard on is only netting 50,000 concurrent. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Marvel Rivals came out like a month ago, opened with like 500,000 people concurrent, and still boasts like 475 to 490 concurrent every day. Like it's wild to me where Call of Duty is right now.
Yeah, I mean, when Warzone came out, it did come out at the perfect time. It came out at the very beginning of the pandemic, right as the lockdown was happening.
They knew.
Yes.
That's and they released like they knew.
So it did get us through a very tough time. I remember going out. I did work as a pizza delivery guy during the pandemic. Yeah. So I remember coming home and then spending like till 2-3 o'clock in the morning playing Warzone with my brother almost every night. It was getting actually addictive, like how much we were playing this game. And it was just fun playing with my brother. And we had another friend, his name, we'll just call him Kevin. Yeah. We would play together, we'd play trios and have fun. But as you said, the Warzone has been dying out, and it's in like a lot of the major streamers have stopped playing. Like Tim's not playing anymore. Nick Mertz isn't playing anymore. Nick Mertz, he's trying to dabble back in, but he's not really doing it full time like he used to. I think he went full time Fortnite now. Doc
he's
is
out. A
out.
lot of Rivals time too. A lot of these guys are putting a lot of Rivals time, which is understandable. It's one of the biggest shooter. It's not a battle royale, but you know what I mean. It's a shooter. That's what these guys are good at. Point and click, real fast.
Yeah, Rivals is just Overwatch remade with Marvel.
Right.
Yep. So they're trying to bring people back, and they're trying to already hit with the nostalgia. I mean, it's only really been 5 years since it's come out, and they went away from Verdansk, and then they're like, well, we'll bring it back, and we're gonna bring it back in like season 3 of this year, which could happen like I think end of March is when season 3 of the new Warzone hits, when they're gonna bring back Verdansk.
I don't remember. Dude, they just had an update now. I think they're on 2. Is it planned for 3? If it was 3, it would be mid to late March. It's usually about 70 days ish per regular. Oh, there it goes. I mean, somebody already made one of the memes.
That's right.
But you know what? But they've been struggling hard with this title so long that I feel like I've been hearing Verdansk is on the way for like 2 years. Like I swear that like the Caldera map didn't hit like they wanted it to hit when that map came out.
Definitely didn't.
Not even remotely. The crater in the middle was stupid. And the only thing dumber than that was seeing Godzilla walk around on it. You remember that? That was crazy stupid. But then they bring out the next iteration of Modern Warfare. It was Modern Warfare 3 had the new Warzone attached to it, and that map didn't hit. So they're hold on, we've got updates and other modes, and we're gonna change the map up in real time. We're gonna make some modifications, and then that doesn't hit. So what do? They're like, oh, we can still bring Verdansk back and do Verdansk 2.0. You guys love Verdansk, right? You were just talking pre-stream just based on your graphic behind you. You played enough of the game to know it at a glance, right, of a crappy image, that we struck up on a green screen where you had some great rounds that you remember like 2 years later, 3 years later, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like people are into Verdansk like that. And I've heard some of these guys talk, you know, on their live streams. Like I watch a lot of Iceman Isaac, who did a lot of Warzone stuff, and now he's playing a lot of Rivals and a lot of there's another game called Off the Grid that I think he's kind of vested into a little bit. But you know, he's talking about Verdansk and how, yeah, maybe I'll go back and I'll check that out and see if it's worth playing. But his attention, like you said, with those other big dog streamers, it just lies elsewhere now because this doesn't have the pull anymore.
Yeah.
And
that's what got me into thinking about this topic and how deeper I want to go with it. But it started when I was watching Tim's stream when he was playing Rivals, and he was talking about like he's so dug into Rivals right now that if Verdansk came out tomorrow, he probably wouldn't go play. Like he's going to play Rivals.
I feel almost exactly the same way. Like I feel like if you're I'll say it like this: there's two types of people in the world basically. There's people like you and people like me. You're not very cynical typically when we talk about these topics. You do try to find kind of a silver lining kind of thing. And you kind of go with flow until somebody gives you a damn good reason to be like, all right, I'm out. I'm a little bit more reactionary, always have been, where I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Something doesn't smell right here. You know, I feel like I've seen this before in other places. So no, I'm not going to stick around to have you slap me in the face with definitive evidence. I'm just going to be like, nah, if there's a little too much hearsay on the scale, I'm out. You know, and I feel like Call of Duty for me, because I've never not played it since I started playing this shit in like 2006, like like COD 4, the first Modern Warfare, whatever year that came out, when they made the jump from a World War II title, like the Big Red One, like those games when they jumped into the modern era. There hasn't been a Call of Duty, and like I've bought Madden of Duty every year except for Infinite Warfare, however many years ago that was. But I have all the rest of them. And I've prestiged in all of them, you know? And for me, it's like when I hear them telling me that, you know, the score-based matchmaking thing isn't real, it's all in your head, but now all they do is talk about how they use that as an algorithm to get me to play more. I'm like, well, that's a reversal of what I felt intrinsically, and now you're telling me you're using it. Coupled with things like I was just saying to my brother on the drive home from the family thing today. You know, if they put out a new game next year with 25 new maps, because they know now that they can get away with putting out 12 new ones because the fan base is so old that half of the players playing today haven't seen Shipment yet. You know what I mean? They haven't seen that map. They haven't seen Crossroads. They haven't seen Hijacked. They haven't seen, you know, insert every other map that they remake or remaster. But I'm like, dude, I've seen it 4 times. You know, you guys are selling me half a game for $10 more now. You know, your bundles are increased in prices here. We got performance incentives in these bundles that are kind of a pay to win situation. You get a bundle that's got a UAV on spawn. What, like, really? I don't know. So it's tougher and tougher for me to cut these guys that kind of slack. So let me ask you this on the topic then. Let's say, you know, your work situation stabilized and you actually had free time, right? You had a couple hours every other day to play a video game. How likely would you be to jump into Verdansk, knowing what you know about some of these factors of why Call of Duty is experiencing the plummet that they've been on?
Well, when it comes to a game like the Battle Royale, it's I separate it from Call of Duty itself because I do see it as a separate game. But the things that drove me away from Warzone was their inability to stop cheaters.
Oh god, like, that's a huge one. I can't even believe I missed that. Go on.
You'd be jumping in and like they headshot, and as I'm in a full delta coming in to parachute in after I won my gulag, and like a headshot. Like, how does that even happen? Or someone hit me from all the way across the map, and
it can happen once, and you're like, "Oh snap, nice shot."
Yeah.
But when it happens every time or half the time.
Or you see one person in the scoreboard who has like 77 kills. It's like, I don't care how good you are.
Right.
Even if you're playing all bots out there, you're still not going to have 77
you just
kills.
Don't have that kind of time.
Yeah. So I think that was one of the things that drove people away. I think the way that they modded guns, because everyone started to like, you know, you had your favorite gun, and there was always, you know, you had the new meta gun, and you had the, you know, like the DRZ was really big for a time. The was it the submachine gun, the Brute, that was big, and then it was the Forteza. Like they all had like their times when they were like really big, and then they nerfed them.
They still have that.
Yeah.
And it goes on a loop and a pattern, so they can bump up the new guns on the battle pass to get
Exactly.
you to buy in and unlock it, and then they nerf things back down, and they still do that. The problem with this game, like you were saying about they can't get a control of the cheating situation, is they can't get control of any situation right now. Where the meta guns right now in January are the same meta guns that they had in November or I think it was October this year. I think this one launched a little early on Game Pass. It's still the XM4 and the I can't even remember the name of the submachine gun that they have, but it's the same. It's the XM4 AR, and then there's a sub that was really good in the beta that's still really good now. And I'm like, I don't get it. Like, people have been telling you, guys, the anti-cheat's not working. Guys, the guns are really boring to play. Guys, these three, do they have perks that don't effing work in this game? Imagine that bullshit. Imagine if stopping power didn't work in Modern Warfare 2 in 2008. Like, there'd have been a fucking riot, but like, they don't even care that people riot now. So now they've entered, and this is why this was a topic for us. We've left the riot stage, and now Call of Duty players are squarely in the apathy stage.
Yep.
And I think that's what prompted you to want to talk about this as a lead topic tonight. Like, as we just did Section 31, Star Trek movie. You're not a giant Trek guy, but you had all kinds of thoughts about, like, it's here. I watched it, but I'm never going to watch it again.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about COD.
And like, that's where I was trying to get with the war zones. When I was thinking, like, would Verdansk save Warzone? And I don't think so. And it's like, what would it take to save Warzone? But on top of that, we see the same type of stuff with IPs that we love, like Star Wars, Marvel's going down that path, Star Trek, as we talked about. So what would it take to actually save these franchise? Is it another nostalgia hit that they're going to try to hit us with? Or do they need to pretty much scrap it down, get a new drawing board, and start over?
Dude, I mean, they need to do that thing where, like, they take the whiteboard, bang it over their knee, throw that out the window, and completely rehash everything from the ground up. I think you just hit the nail right on the head. The problem all of these franchises have, even like, and I'm just assuming they're all now, let's just magically assume January 1st, 2025, they've all decided to operate in good faith with fiduciary responsibility, and they wanted to do right by shareholders and players alike. Let's just make that, I know it's a big assumption, but we need to have some groundwork here, right? Starting from that framework, even if they laid all those core concepts in place, they're still up the same creek they were up when The Last Jedi and Andor came out, and Solo for that matter. You can't even have, dude, they could put out the best movie on the planet tomorrow. The best new version of COD 2025 sold 40 million copies this year in the middle of May or something. Who cares, right? They need multiples of that now in a row, or we're just going to look at the one decent thing as a fluke and probably only have had half the number of people necessary to prop it up, watch it, or play it. It's the same reason Deadpool and Wolverine, for all its excitement and the member berries and the fun stuff that was in it, like, that's not moving the needle for, Captain Who's His Face and the Thunderdolts this year. It's just not. Like, it wasn't enough because people have it separated in their minds. This is Deadpool and Wolverine over here. Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman. We know these guys. We like these guys. This is everything else.
Yeah.
Way over here. And that, I think that's COD. But like, how do you think of that?
No, it's going to be about the same. It's like, you're going to have probably one hit. Like, people will always buy Black Ops, and there's one reason why everyone buys Black Ops: zombies. Only reason they buy it is the zombie mode.
There's a game that needs to have a separate mode for $30 and then just put the other thing on a shelf. Give me some round-based zombies for like a year. I'm dead.
As my brother said, it's like Pepsi. The only reason Pepsi's still around is because of Mountain Dew. But everyone always buys Coke, which is the modern warfare. Like, people always buy Coke because Coke is always reliable. But the only reason why Pepsi still has sales is because of Mountain Dew.
And the 17 different kinds of Mountain Dew I get. Exactly. And
non-sponsored.
Zero.
Non-sponsored.
Imagine that. Yeah, hold up. I'll do it again. This time we'll put the back of the label.
There we go. That's right. No unpaid advertising.
Yeah, it's like when they buff out the car logos and like movies and shit. They got to take the Ford Diamond or the Ford Oval off the front of a car.
The black sticker on the back of MacBooks.
Yep. Do it for sure. But I think you're right, man. Like that's the feeling I get, is that there have been enough side pieces of interest in this game that have propped it up. And I think it's just Madden. Like, it's like you want a new football game every year. If you got disposable income, you're paying the $70 for like the roster upgrade. Because how long has it been since Madden innovated anything wild? Like, they invented the dynasty mode a decade ago, I think.
I think this year was a like them trying to get bad. I actually watched the documentary on this. It was like EA
on Madden 25.
Yeah, on Madden 25 and Madden in general, actually.
Yeah.
And it was talking about like this year they had to build back their customers' trust with this year's, and they put a lot of work into it. Yeah, it takes more than one, and they still didn't fix everything. There's so many glitches in it, especially with the lateral. You hit that lateral and like you can lateral it 30 yards backwards somehow. And
dude, that's the one part of COD that I didn't even bring up yet. And maybe I'll hit that and then we can move on to our like our Marvel news and our movie stuff. They just did their big season 2 update. They put out their their bug report or whatever. It's got like 6 trillion items on it. And I'm like, that's good. Like, that's an attempt at transparency. They're letting you're heard, I guess. But within like 24 hours, I've got videos on Twitter that are demonstrating that the bug that they said they resolved isn't resolved.
Yeah.
So how is this a thing, man? It's like talking to the worst kind of like domestic abusive, like lying spouse. It's like, oh no, I'm changing. I'm gonna be better. And no, I'm not. It won't happen again. Like, it happened again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's wild, man.
I mean, the Bud report. I mean, I've seen congressional appropriation bills shorter than the Bud report. So,
right, dude, seriously, it's crazy to me that they act like they don't understand why people are upset. And this is true of all the things we talk about, not just the the guys over at Treyarch or Infinity Ward or Sledgehammer for Call of Duty. It's like a Ravensoft. It's everybody. They all do this. They all sit back and think, oh well, we did something, so they'll be happy, right? And I'm like, oh man, I feel like if I did half of a job, my boss would be pissed.
It's not even doing half of a job. It's just all they're doing is recoloring the lines that's already been painted. Yeah, they're a tracer.
It's wild. It's astonishing to me that they can reuse they can copy and paste a game every year, break the same things over and over, and then get butthurt when people are like, really? And you guys think and they did. And remember when they considered making this a subscription-based game for like, I don't know, it was like a month there, like 6 years ago. Like, I don't know, man, if World of Warcraft can do it and we have almost as many players, we should do that. I'm like, on what planet would I pay $15 a month to play this bullshit? I'm playing it for free on Game Pass right now and I'm still bored and I still want my money. Like, I want them to reimburse me for Game Pass. It's that bad, So I don't know. I don't see myself dropping back into Verdansk unless literally there's some kind of craziness that goes on along with just the map. Like, I've played the map won't be any different. Like, they're just remastering the color scheme of it a bit, I guess. So
yeah,
not changing the POIs or anything.
I'd be interested in what version of Verdansk, because remember Verdansk changed over Call of Duty. Like you had the broken down stadium, like I have here in my picture, or you also had the full stadium. You had the roof over the stadium. The first time we were dropping in, you couldn't even go into the stadium. The stadium was just you could run around it. You couldn't even go into it. But then they opened up the stadium.
I think they did that with Caldera and Al Mazrah too, because I remember Al Mazrah had the big observatory on top of a mountain, and then there was like a tactical nuke strike or something that destroyed it. And you had to recover wreckage, blah 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 blah. Crap like that on COD. So I mean, but I mean, even again, like the version of the map, I don't care enough about that because it's still stuff I've already seen.
Yeah, I think the best update they did was Halloween 2021 when they added the Nakatomi Tower.
Yep.
And you could play as Bruce Willis.
That was awesome. But that was back. That was during Cold War, and that was actually a much better base COD game because it had everything was 80s theme. Like that season 3 Battle Pass rocked. They had John Rambo in there. They had Bruce Willis in there.
Yeah,
that game slayed a whole lot harder than people gave it credit for at the time. It really did. That's still a fun one to go back to. But all right, why don't we let's move away from Call of Duty and we'll report back as we hear any news on that because. We could cover more gaming on here, even if we're not playing as much. I'm still playing Rivals. We could talk about Rivals if I get you into a round or two anyway.
I've seen
bringing out the Fantastic Four. They're bringing out we got 2 of the Fantastic Four live on the roster right now.
Yeah, I think
You know,
the
maybe
other
one-
two are showing up in like the next 3 weeks.
Yep, February 21st is the second season. Season 1, they're on season 1 right now, is a double length season. So we got Mr. Fantastic and we got Sue on launch, and then halfway point of the extended season 1, we're gonna get Ben and Johnny. Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's February 21st. So yeah, I know of course Fantastic Four is coming out this year. Pretty good tie-in. You know,
Yeah.
better than Thunderdolts and the other dude. But here we are. So all right, where do we go from here? We can do the Daredevil thing. The Captain
I think you
thing,
wanted to
both.
talk. I think you want to talk about Daredevil. And I think the Captain America will tie into this.
Yeah.
So we're going to
so
talk
too.
about like the art there, huh? Yeah.
It's
good
cover. I
there.
got the book right over there. I got it.
Yeah.
Get it. Yeah, dude. So, and this might amount to be a nothing burger. I mean, the further away I got from reading the remarks, I was like, all right, listen. Dude said some stupid stuff, and I guess I should set the table for dude. It's a former showrunner for the Netflix Punisher series. Put out in an interview somewhere that he thought, he said, and to paraphrase, at its best, Daredevil on Netflix was great, but at its worst, it really was a whole lot of people sitting around navel gazing and feelings in hallways, like how we would say it. We've made that joke a bazillion times here. And I'm like, oh man, it feels just like the Captain America Brave New World statements from the actor there, where I'm like, I'm finally excited to see one of you. I'm not excited for Captain America. I'm excited for Daredevil, right? Like we're getting close to launch. Like this show comes out in like a month, like March, whatever.
Yeah.
Like March 9th or something. It's like a month away, give or take, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm still hyped, but it's like somebody came by and just like pitched like an 8-ounce glass of cold water on the fire. It probably won't put it out. If it's a good campfire, but make it sizzle. We get a little steam and whatnot. But I'm annoyed because I'm like, dude, your problem with what is widely considered, this isn't just me, like the consensus on YouTube, Twitter, social media. You go into your comic shop and talk to the guys in there that pop in and talk about the shows. Daredevil season 1 on Netflix might be the best TV superhero show of like the modern era. And I know there's like Incredible Hulk fans from like 1972 or whatever, but I'm like,
and then
in
there
the
was
modern era,
first season of Heroes.
this is what I'm saying. There's a couple that was 20 years ago. We were in college when that show came out. It's been a long time, right? The modern era has Daredevil, then the other Netflix shows, and then fucking everything else. And I don't care if it's on the CW, Netflix, HBO Max, whatever. I don't count the Penguin. It's not Penguin's not a superhero show. You know what I mean? So I don't so much know that I like this guy making this remark ahead of time, shitting on the thing that I enjoyed most about Daredevil. The stuff that made that show interesting and intriguing was watching Matt Murdock try to figure out what kind of hero he was going to be. So when he has that chat with somebody like the Punisher, who's completely on track with what kind of hero he is, like there's no qualms there. He's like, you hurt people, now you die. Matt Murdock's like, well, I mean, you tried to rob the lady, so I beat your ass, but I didn't neck break you.
Yeah.
Like those conversations between those guys on the roof in those couple of episodes were the pinnacles of that show. It wasn't the combat in the alley. It was that. That's the complexity in writing we're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, like the first season, like he's still trying to come to grips of who he is and who he wants to be. Like he didn't even have the suit then. He had a black scarf wrapped around his head to hide his identity. And then him trying to
pants.
And then the other part was him trying to be Daredevil, but also be Matt Murdock. Like try to separate the two lives. And that's when he realized he really can't do that. He has to be Daredevil and he's pretending to be Matt Murdock. And then later you see that switch over where he has to be Matt Murdock and he just pretends to be Daredevil. I mean, that's the best part of it, is just that internal struggle of the character.
I mean, but isn't that the best part of like all the superheroes you enjoy? Like, isn't the best part of Superman knowing that Clark Kent is the disguise, because Superman, Kal-El, is who he is, and he has to play down for the like they were talking at the end of Kill Bill too. Like he has to play down to what he thinks is our level. You know what I mean? Because he's trying to keep you at ease.
Well, see,
he's not afraid of you.
So I think Superman's a little bit different because Superman has the powers, and that, like you said, that's who he is.
Oh, yeah.
That's the person he is. Matt Murdock had to make the conscious decision to
True.
use his gifts to be a superhero, where Superman, that's who he is.
I'm just saying in terms of the dichotomy of the two people that he encompasses. It's because I would say it's the same as Bruce Wayne. I think maybe Bruce Wayne and Batman are a better comp to Matt Murdock. Is that
I would go with
Bruce
that.
Wayne is the money guy, the brain guy. He's a socialite, so he's kind of very Tony Starkish in that way. Tony Stark doesn't have the secret identity. He was like, fucking, I'm Iron Man. That was the best part of that movie, by the way. Spider-Man comes to mind as another one. Like, he's a kid with incredible gifts. And as we know, with the great power came the great responsibility. But the entire run of that character for the last 90 years has been him trying to reconcile those things. Probably best illustrated in the second movie, where he's like, do I ever get what I want? Like that hurts, because you're like, dude, fucking head, do you? I don't know. Because Aunt May's like, you're a hero. You're going to do hero shit. Everybody loves you, but you might not get MJ now. I didn't like that MJ anyway. So I'm like, dude, just hold on for Gwen. She's coming. I promise, But I think maybe that's, but again, it feels like this particular showrunner doesn't get what makes these kind of characters tick, like, at all. And like, that makes me real nervous. I'm like, dude, were you part of the crew that had like 90% of these episodes like thrown out before the rewrites happened? Maybe we should probably look into this dude and see if maybe there's some sour grapes.
Yeah, before Charlie Cox took over.
It's like, I don't know, man. This is kind of stupid. I'm probably not going to say that line. This story is dumb. Right, Vincent D'Onofrio, right? Isn't this dumb? Like, yeah, no, it seems pretty dumb, Charlie. Let's not do that. Maybe they had called Karen and Foggy, the actors, and they're like, guys, don't sign up for this shit yet. Trust us. Don't do it. And
they were going to kill them two, who are two pivotal characters in the story and growth of Daredevil, and they're going to kill them off screen.
Right, dude. The only way you can, and I haven't read, besides Born Again that I picked up, I haven't read Daredevil like exclusively on like an individual basis in like 30 years. So whatever. My knowledge is a little lacking. But given tropes of superheroes and how these books work, especially in the modern era, like probably 90s onward, these characters have probably died in print at least 3 times a piece. Because they've been fridged. All the side characters get fridged at some point. I don't get butthurt about that because, I'm not a Sally.
Except one. Do you know who that one is?
No, who?
Jimmy Olsen.
Jimmy's never been fridged? Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, I'd kill him. He kind of annoys me. It's a little too scrappy for me, but whatever. So, but Foggy and Karen probably did. But it's like you said, dude, I don't need to be told they died off screen. What you do is you kill them at the mid-season break in episode 5, and you make me stew in it for a month until I get episodes 6 through 10 a month later on Netflix and have to re-up my membership.
Yep.
You don't just tell me, and then the Emperor somehow the Emperor returned. Like, no, he didn't. Karen and Foggy died somehow. No, they didn't. Fuck you. Seems stupid. But I don't know, man. I don't think this probably hasn't affected your hype level for the show, I'm guessing.
No, not at all. This is some guy running his mouth who didn't really understand the first show, and he was trying to bring more light. Like, my version of it's going to be so much better, even though you guys had to revert back to what Netflix did.
Which is the best like tacit acknowledgement that everything on Disney Plus sucks. I mean, isn't it like, hey, everything we've tried for 7 shows has been almost terrible across the board. We got to go do the thing that everybody liked on Netflix. But what slays me about this particular dude is if he was a showrunner on Punisher, unless he doesn't get that character's psychology either, which would be weird because it's not, the Punisher isn't just a point and shoot TV series. It's not, especially not with John Bernthal on it. Like there's pain, loss, suffering, grief, trauma, all kinds of shit baked into him.
Yeah, it's not the movie of Daredevil, of Punisher.
Like, was that navel gazing? Was that Frank Castle? Was he navel gazing every time he tried to figure out what next move he was going to make to preserve his sanity? They even invented a damn nursery rhyme for that show that people were like tweeting. I don't remember what it was, 1 penny, 2 penny, something like that. Like, there was like a mantra that he had before he took a shot. Like, dude, if you were smart enough to write that in there, it means you understood what the guy was. But here we are.
Well, with a showrunner really doesn't write or direct. He keeps the trains running and keeps the theme together between directors. Because a lot of these series have multiple directors over a series of shows. Like, one director might do 2 shows, one director might do 1 show, one director might do 3 shows.
Good clarification.
So the showrunner's there to keep the continuity between the different directors.
How much influence do you think that guy has in the creation process, though? Like if he's accusing this show of possibly of wanting to have less navel gazing, do you think this is a high profile enough figure to be like, all right, hey, we're going to tone down the introspective moments and we're going to just make it more fighty, shooty?
I don't think they have that much say in the creative side because what you see on screen is the director's vision of it.
True.
The showrunner is there to keep it continuity between the two and make sure all the trains are run. Like they have the locations they need. They have the props that they need, kind of like what a producer would do, but they're for a movie, they just call him a showrunner when it's a series.
Yeah, so hopefully he's at somebody else's better knowing beck and call. I guess that's going to keep our fingers crossed on that. But kind of tangentially related to this dude running his mouth. Yeah. Other people finally have maybe run their mouths on a fatal level for another Marvel project that's coming out that I know you're looking forward to still.
Yes.
Well, to be clear, though, those are our respective positions. The King Z over here is still looking forward to Captain America Brave New World coming out in a couple weeks. I am not at all, not remotely. I didn't watch the show that it's based on. I don't like Anthony Mackie being thrown into that role. I think he was just fine as Falcon. I would have seen a Falcon show. I think it goes to show how little Disney and the MCU think of that character, that they didn't just make a Falcon Brave New World movie about him trying to lead the Avengers as Falcon in a world without Steve Rogers as Captain America. Like, I don't know who's the racist one.
But there is comic precedence for this.
Dude, I know this, but just because it's in the comics didn't mean that was good either. That's kind of the rebuttal I'm going with for a lot of this stuff. Like when they want to tell me that, we're going to race swap this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, nobody liked it then either. And they canceled it 8 books later, so precedence aside, like I would have wanted to see Falcon being that guy in that movie, so I think they've exposed themselves once again as just trying to pander to the point of success. And it's unfortunate because I think that minus that and minus remarks like from lead actor Anthony Mackie saying in an interview, and you think misquoted, I'll let you explain that in a second, where he's saying that Captain America, I don't think America should be one of the things that he represents. And I'm like, that seems kind of odd because the name's right there in the title about the things that he would stand up for, and maybe in the current political climate in the country today, you probably just don't want to say anything about what Captain America would stand for that isn't specifically something terrible. Like, that he wouldn't stand, I would say he wouldn't stand up for Nazis. That's it. Like, leave everything else out of your mouth for the time being, Anthony. Like, there were still probably some people that were going to go see this movie, but now I guarantee you fewer people go see this movie in a couple of weeks. And you're already in trouble for profitability. But what do you think of the statements in his situation?
So he did have his clarification statement today, yes, where he did say he loves America. And I think what he was trying to say, because this was in Italy and he was asked, why should Italians be excited for Captain America? And the way he worded is that he doesn't represent America. He didn't say, what he forgot to say was solely. He also stands up for integrity, loyalty, duty, responsibility. He had like a long trace that he actually represents, but he did say that he doesn't represent America. And I think he just missed out solely. If he would have put solely in there, it would have been the quote wouldn't have been taken like it was. I think it was a misquote or a misspoke.
He misspoke.
Yeah, misspoke.
You're saying it was probably an honest verbal conversational error that he made. Then I could probably see a little bit of that because you could see if you watch the actual video, not just the print statement, if you watch the video of the interview, his entire body language changes like immediately after he says it, and you realize like, oh no, he's like, oh no, I did the thing. I did the Zegler, he's like, oh,
I Rachel'd it. I totally Rachel'd it.
Yeah, I totally Rachel'd it up. Because I'm guaranteeing like his phone was ringing probably within 12. That's in Italy, right? So his phone was probably ringing within 12 hours from the MCU guys. And they were like, dude, like we're already 300 million over budget on this thing. Could you please just issue like a clarification, like you said, which I think is probably a more fair way to rephrase what happened there. Because this dude's been through production hell of this movie for what, 3 years, 4 years, 3, 4, something like that. It ain't been like since yesterday.
No, it's been a minute because when was it? Was it last summer? No, because I didn't do nothing last year in production. It was the year before that where I was a extra in the shooting of this movie. So
Right. And that might even have been the second iteration of it by then. That's what I'm saying. Like this goes back a while. This has been on their slate for a good minute. And I think this is the end of like the 18-month push when in terms of release dates to account for the reshoots that they did. So I don't know, man. I don't want to be oversensitive to these kind of statements, but I feel like we've been flogged with them so much for like 5 years that it's tough to not be semi-sensitive to them when they come up. But it is a brave new world in 2025. Maybe this is just the end of that.
So when I was there on set for the Brave New World, I was there talking with my fellow Secret Service agents, and I'm like, this is really cool that they have this set where it's like Thunderbolt Ross is kind of the president and he's at this point in his life. I'm like, it'd be really cool if they took this opportunity to have him transfer into the Red Hulk and do a whole Red Hulk arc. And like all the production people around me, like the director, like the Red Hulk's not in this movie. The Red Hulk's not in this movie. It has nothing to do with this movie. So I was like, okay. I'm like, well, that's just a missed opportunity. I straight said to their face, it's a missed opportunity because you have it right here.
Yep. And then you realize you had signed that NDA and couldn't comment on it until like 4 years later where they're like, oh no, he's in the movie.
Yeah, we've seen the trailer. We know he's in the movie. So, and then I was like, hey, I was right. Maybe they listened to me.
They were probably like, hey, listen, that dude over there, Secret Service agent number 4, he had a pretty good idea. This idea sucks. Let's use his idea. Hey guys, we need a reshoot. We need another 90 million. We're going to push this bitch back for 6 months. Hopefully get back to it in time.
Yeah, I could get a writing credit or something.
Oh, the King Z cut? Dude, the King Z cut. Pretty badass. Dude, you gotta call him like, hey guys, listen, you might not remember me, typey. You might not remember me, but I was there. I was standing here when I said this, and they're gonna be like, yeah, no, that never happened. NDA never happened.
Yeah.
Can't talk about that. But I don't know, man. I guess we'll see what happens. I've heard this movie, its budget's ballooned almost to the point of like comic levels of like atmosphere where like people can't get like any kind of accurate beat on it at all because it didn't shoot any of the stuff in like the UK where Star Wars does. So we get those numbers, we get those tax documents for their credits that are like public filed and stuff. I think they shot a lot of this. I think in Canada, it was
Georgia.
Was it all in Georgia? I thought I read.
They shot a lot of it here in Georgia. It was before Pinewood Studios moved to England.
Oh, okay. So if it was shot domestically, then we have like zero chance of ever getting like an honest to God accounting unless it gets leaked about, what it actually costs. But like I've seen marketing for this shit everywhere that I've gone to. Like every YouTube video has a Falcon, a Winter Soldier. I keep saying Winter Soldier. It's not even in the movie. A Brave New World trailer on YouTube every 5 seconds. It's been on Twitch and a bunch of the Twitch channels that I watch. They're probably going to spend it up on Disney Plus on their front banner. That's going to cost them millions to do. So I don't know. The likelihood that this is any good to me is slim. Could it be middle of the road? Maybe, but that many substantial reshoots makes me really nervous that this is going to be like a coherent story that really tips me. It's definitely not Civil War or not Civil War. Winter Soldier. Like it's definitely not going to hit on that kind of quality political thriller, mill thriller kind of level. It ain't that.
But it could take it out of Ant-Man Quantumanium.
Yeah. I mean,
that's probably why they did the reshoots is to start like, hey, this isn't pulling up to standard. Let's go ahead and get some. And I think that's why we saw Seth Rollins talk about like how he's been cut out of the movie. They brought in the most famous bad guy, Esposito.
Oh, Giancarlo Esposito, Gus Fring. Yeah.
Yeah. They brought him in to be the new bad guy. So yeah, they had to bring in some big guns because like, hey, this other one wasn't hidden right. After the hit they took with Quantumania, is that let's go back, let's see what we're doing, and try to add some more quality instead of quantity to this.
I mean, they brought in the talent. I don't think that's going to be the problem. I think at some point or another, though, there's only so much Frankenstein you can Frankenstein. If they're working from 3 different scripts, and if a tenth of the rumors surrounding this movie are true about how they filmed like multiple scenes that they thought they were going to need, or that they just wanted to have certain set pieces, certain action sequences, and they were going to shoehorn those into a finished script later. Like, my God, like The Marvels sucked because the Marvels was terrible, right? Quantum Mania sucked because that sucked and it had bad CGI. Eternal sucked because nobody knows who they are.
Yeah.
I don't want this to suck because I like that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you do reshoots, it's not a totally new script. It's just a new color of the script, meaning they added pages or took stuff out. Like you'll see when they're shooting, they'll have it and it'll be on the call sheet of what color script they're on.
Yep.
They have different colors based on that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's all they did was either add something to or take something out, because they will still use the same bare bones of the script. They'll just change colors on what pages they added or took out.
I think in competent hands, that wouldn't necessarily bother me. But when you're talking about that kind of addition by subtraction, to use the sports analogy, like we've seen some of the disastrous results that can happen like that. Like we've seen championship teams that I've seen it firsthand up here in Boston. What happens when you trade your starting center a month before the finals? Didn't work out too good for me that year against LA. You know what I mean? Like there's a certain, yeah, it might only change a scene or two here or there, but I mean, there's an entire tonal shift that could happen if it's shot in a way that it's the reshoots are so far apart from when they shot the first part the first time. You can get that kind of imbalance between performances. People can be off. They might not slip back into the role the same way. And it probably won't happen with a guy like Gus Fring or Anthony Mackie because they're professionals on that level. But the guys and gals behind the camera, like, I don't know if they're any good. I don't know if it's going to be the same quality of work. Who knows?
So usually they bring in the same crew. Like they have and they bring in the same crew.
They can stay consistent, hopefully.
Yep.
Cool. I feel a little bit better about that. So I guess it's going to be a wait and see. We're both obviously going to see it for the channel. It's going to be the biggest movie of the early year.
Yep.
It's an MCU film. Even if it bombs, it's still a big story either way. I think the crappiest story would be if it's mediocre, because no one's going to care either way to talk about it.
Yeah. But either way, on February 14th or right around that, we'll be seeing it, and we will have a video up reviewing 100%. It. And also rolling with Daredevil Born Again. We will be watching weekly and putting out content for each of those episodes. So go ahead and hit that subscribe so you don't miss it.
Will Daredevil be a weekly thing, or is that a Netflix binge drop, though?
It's on D+, so I don't know.
Oh, that's right. It's not on Netflix anymore. It is D+.
Yeah,
that's right. It probably will be weekly. My bad. That's right. It probably will be weekly. Yes.
It'll probably be the 2-1-1-1-1-1.
Yep. Good call. Get that 2-episode premiere. Bang that out of the way. Probably on we'll know a lot based on the night of the week. I think it comes out, because I think that the closer to the beginning of the week, it bodes better, I think, for that kind of show. I don't know. Mm-hmm. That's just anecdotally feeling to me. Like, think about all the good ones. Like all the stuff on HBO's on Sunday, but I mean, that's always kind of been their day, I guess.
That's their day for shows. Yeah. I mean, that goes back to Sopranos.
Yeah, true. That's right. Cool. All right. What else do we have tonight as we get into our final segment here?
Yeah. We could either do these movies we talked about in our New Year's one, or we go talk about this one we haven't talked about yet, which I think might be the best sci-fi movie coming out this year.
Let's talk about Mickey 17, right? Is that the one you're
all right? Yep, that's what I'm going for.
Talking about,
because I have a deeper question with this one as well.
Dude, lead the way on this one, dude. I got to get some water and rest the voice. I got a choir thing I'm doing right now. I'm just gonna.
So, Mickey 17 is a movie coming out later this year. I did not get the exact release date when I watched it, but I did watch the trailer. The trailer is out on there. I'll go check it out on YouTube if you do not know what Mickey 17 is. But it's a sci-fi based film about explorers in space, and you have a certain job title called Expendables. And then from the Expendables, you probably guess what their job is. But then you have one guy who actually volunteers for this. And then after they're expendable, they're 3D printed back to life.
With most of their memories.
Yep. And then you kind of get into troubles of like doubles and triples and stuff like that. And that's where the conflict comes in. But once again, this is Mr. Robert Pattinson. And this is my deeper question to you, Wolf. What does Robert Pattinson have to do to shake off the funk of Twilight and being called Twilight Boy?
No, you know what? I'm not sure he's got to do anything, because I think he's far enough removed. I mean, dude, Twilight's 20 odd years old now, right?
Almost 30.
As I'm saying, this is old, right? The movies are a little, younger than the books, not much. Dude's already done stuff that isn't Edward Cullen from Twilight. I read a few of the books, whatever. I'm a literary guy. The movies are terrible. He's done The Lighthouse. He's done The Batman. He's done other smaller scale stuff that I had to look up on a
Tenet.
list from Wikipedia.
He was fantastic in Tenet, though.
Movie, but nobody knows what that movie was about, though. So I can't count that to help him because nobody knows what happened in Tenet. And the sound was terrible. Worst sound design of the modern era.
Yes.
By far. Okay, fact. We're in agreement. I don't know that he's got that rep anymore, except maybe on like a surface level. Like it's fun to just kind of bust his balls about it a little bit. And even then, dude, if somebody was going to give me $15 million in 2005 to play a pretty boy vampire, I'd sparkle the fuck out of that role. I wouldn't care. You know what I mean? So I don't hate him for it in the way that I think a lot of other people wanted to give him crap for that being like a 23-year-old. It'd be like if you were 23 and they offered you the job of, hey, dude, you want to be Captain America? That's kind of cheesy. It's a comic book movie. It'd be like, oh, you're going to pay me $8 million? Then people will know my name and nobody will remember I was the Human Torch in a crappy Fantastic Four movie. Sold. You know? That's
what I was thinking too. Is like he was a young up and comer.
Yeah, that was a shot.
It was a guaranteed franchise, 3-picture deal, or I think they even stretched it to 4 pictures.
They got 4 and they wanted 5 because it's 4 books and they were going to do that split the last book bullshit into 2. And he got all 4 because they made all 4 movies.
So, I mean, who wouldn't do that if you're a new up and comer? You have a guaranteed paycheck for the next couple of years doing these. Probably got royalty rights in it somewhere.
Oh, dude, 0.5% on the back end, easy.
Easy. So, but I mean, he still has that. I still see that people refer to him as Twilight Boy. Oh, Twilight Boy's in this one. Oh, Twilight Boy's in this.
It's because he's a vampire for real. Like, bring that graphic back up. Bring Mickey 17 back up, Oracle. Pop that. Because he looks the same. He's the same dude. It's been 35 fucking years. And a celebrity lifestyle where everybody thought that like this dude was on drugs when he was first cast as the Batman because he weighed 114 pounds. You know what I'm saying, dude? But when he's like, when they airbrush him all up, like, dude, if we cropped out the background of this, that's the title card for Twilight. We could easily put the chick in there with the black background and the stupid apple from the cover of the book, and he'd look exactly the same. You guys, she's nodding her head. She knows. She's got the book on the shelf. Yeah, but I think that rep for him is that's a fan problem of making the joke. I don't think he gives not one shit because, like I said, he's done the indie stuff that proves he's got range. The dude can act. I'm not here to tell you that he was just the pretty boy that they put in as the vampire kid. Like, he's got some talent. He hung on the Lighthouse. It was great.
I liked him in as the Batman. Didn't care for his Bruce Wayne look, but I did like him as Batman.
Not his, and dude, and you're a behind the camera guy, so you know his choice on look. He probably had some input, like, oh, the pants don't fit exactly right. I really don't want to wear this suit, not the bat suit. You know what I mean, like the Bruce.
Yeah,
Wayne look.
The Bruce.
But like
Wayne
his dopey haircut. They're like, bro, you're gonna have the dopey haircut. That's just how that's gonna be. But like you said, I didn't particularly enjoy that movie on account of it being 7 hours long. We've talked about that, but he was far and away not anything wrong with that movie. I don't think I mean, is there a movie he's in that you would say he is a focal bad point of? Like we were talking about Tenet. That wasn't his fault.
No, that was sound design's fault.
Saying. And Chris Nolan, because the movie thought it was a lot smarter than it was, but it was really just confusing. Let's be honest.
Something about going backwards and forwards.
Something time schism. Something, I don't know, whatever. I've watched a lot of Star Trek and I still don't know what they were going for. But Mickey 17, let me throw a question at you, because you had to save my bacon on remembering the name of this movie a couple of shows ago. You remember the creator from a couple summers ago? The AI kid thing, and
the creator, with Denzel's son, yeah.
But I think, and I want to hear what you have to say. I think this Mickey 17 could be the creator. It's a new IP. It's not based on a game, right?
Nope, not based on a game.
Graphic novel.
No,
it's being done up by the guy that did Parasite, the guy that won the international award on the Academy Awards there. Bong So Han, I can't remember his name. The guy that did Parasite, though.
Yeah, the guy who did Parasite.
So
won the Academy Award.
Won the Academy Award. That's right. That's what I'm saying. So it's got that going for it. If it's not based on a game or a book that they can screw up, is this the kind of original sci-fi we're talking about? Because we're basically, like you said, we're talking about 3D printing human clones with consciousness and all of that, and all of the awesome, cool shit that could go wrong with that in sci-fi. We got some body horror that can go wrong with that. We have memory. We have like traumatic amnesia that can go wrong with that. We got the which one of us is the real one of us thing that sci-fi is famous for with clones and robots. I think this could be great on a conceptual level for sci-fi.
Yeah,
just
it
for
really
the genre.
can. The trailer made me want to watch it, and I do have a release date now. It is March 7th. This comes out.
Get out of here. This year?
Yeah.
It's this
this
year?
year. Yeah.
Oh, dude, March is suiting up. Thank God. Because January was a little dull, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
We had
January
some
was
alright stuff.
dull, yeah.
It was kind of slow, but I didn't see Nosferatu. I didn't see the Wolfman. Now I'm stoked for March. We're gonna get through. We're gonna get through February. I promise. We'll get there. March
February
is gonna be our jam.
February, we have some stuff to carry us through. We have 0 Day coming out, which I think that comes out tomorrow. That actually comes out tomorrow.
0 Day was the
Robert De Niro,
movie, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Remind me of that after the show so I can actually kind of track that for the weekend.
Yeah,
me too. We can put our heads together on that like we were talking about. But Mickey 17, I'm looking forward to that. I'm glad it's coming out right around the corner because those are the kind of things I like to break into quarterly on the channel. That way it does break up the monotony of the week-to-week MCU Star Wars bullshit. Because, dude, we had a great video. You guys check it out where King Z and I talk about the creator because I think we agreed that we liked the movie, but for wildly different reasons, as I recall. I was like, I like this, and this. You were like, for me, it was more of that we had the technical and the this, and this. And even some of our dislikes, if I remember, were they were different. They were varied. But it was like, but at the end of the day, the movie still rated like an 8.5. And we're like, this is what we need. I will take an 8.5 honest, authentic effort into filmmaking that isn't, hey guys, we're going to reboot the Fantastic Four fourth time. Like, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. And if it falls, it falls. And then other stuff does, like Rebel Moon with the
farming
slow-mo. 23. How many frames? 10 frames? Something like that. It was weird.
Yeah, it was like,
what's 10 frames in slow-mo? It just looks stupid.
Yeah, but we're shooting at 120 frames per second slow-mo.
That's what it was. 120 frames in slow-mo.
Yeah.
With lens flare. Don't forget the lens flare, dude.
Lens flare. When they throw the lead up and watch it come back down.
Dude, all that movie did was sell me on wanting to book a vacation to that village because it looked peaceful as fuck before the Empire showed up. Like, I'd like to go write a book there. Like, dude, writer's retreat, dude. I'm buying tickets. Let's get on the spaceship and cryo freeze. We'll fly over to the outer edge of the Empire, and we'll just get it done.
Hopefully, they have good ale at the bar.
That's what I'm saying. You good ale at the bar. The Wi-Fi looked a little spotty, but whatever. We can kick it old school and just, we can hand scribble some shit. We're gonna have to leave Chad behind though. That's a problem. Chad can't come.
Yeah, our researcher has to stay behind.
That sucks. Oh, we'll have to snail mail him intergalactically. That'd be wild.
Yeah.
But no, I'm down for Mickey 17. I didn't know they had a trailer out. So actually, if the Oracle has a linkaroo that she wants to throw in the chat for everybody to take a peek, can we do that? Is that a thing we can do?
Yeah, that's a thing we can do.
Then I'll just click on it after we go. And I'll check it out.
It is fun. I would definitely. It made me interested in the movie because I had no idea what it was going in when you threw it on the topic list for tonight. Yeah. So I had to watch. I'm like, oh, there's a trailer out. Let me watch that. And then I'm like, oh, this does look fun. And then I realized that it was Robert Pattinson in it, and that's what came up with this whole question for the topic tonight.
I'm telling you, the only reason I knew this was coming out is because when you put up the template for what's coming in 2025, this was on there. Mickey 17 was on there. It was one of the ones I had to look up because I had no idea what it was. Then I totally forgot about it because we're a month outside of that show because I think that was the first FrostCast of the year. We caught the New Year. It was like 4 days later, right? And then when I was trying to put together topics, I was just like Googling. I was like, what are the biggest sci-fi action fantasy movies coming out in 2025? And Mickey 17 was like in the top 5. I was like, I don't remember what that was. And I was like, oh shit, cloning? Oh shit, sci-fi? Pattinson? Okay, let's get that on the list. And here we are. And I will definitely click on that link because I want to see the trailer because I didn't see it. So let me ask you this as like a final question before we get out of here. What did the tone and the pacing look like from the trailer? Did they try to play it up like it's a slow burn sci-fi thing, or did they do the whole fast-paced action thing near the end? Because I'm sure
it wasn't really action. It looked a lot more comedy.
Really?
Yes, it has a very comedic tone to the trailer.
Interesting. Like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, like that kind of tone?
Kind of like that, yeah, but not as slapsticky. Just kind of like
very interesting.
Think of the beginning of Fallout type comedy. The show? Fallout. Yeah.
Oh, wait, where everything's like 50s and shiny and like everybody's like,
and she's making jokes about everything as she was talking.
oh, dude.
Yeah,
All right, like when she's
that.
doing her little training montage, like her it was her dating profile video.
Yeah,
it was her select a mate video. Oh, dude, I had no idea.
Think
now
of that type of comedy. So
see, I think that helps because I think as far as the sci-fi stuff goes, like I'm still not over Romulus from last year, where I'm like, okay, you were on the right track for something new and original, but I've seen that kind of sci-fi movie. It's dark, it's dystopian, it's gritty, it's in the future. Everything sucks. You know, the global warming people were right. You know, the populists were wrong, and this whatever it was. If this goes that route, like the Fallout dark comedy route, and then it transitions into some horror sci-fi stuff like Shaun of the Dead, more on the horror side, not the sci-fi side, obviously. But if it gets into that, yeah, I think Mickey 17 could be a breakout hit for me for 2025. That could be cool. And I'm gonna go check out that trailer, but I think we've hit our mark. So in the interest of getting the F out of Dodge, when we're saying we're gonna get the F out of Dodge, wait a minute, now there's a whole new cool graphic on the bottom of the screen though. The 28 years later thing. Yeah, we'll save that for next week. Sorry guys, we'll talk about that next week because we're out of time. It's like WWF Raw. We're out of here. No. Get us out of here.
Well, see ya.